Motherfucking goat.
The year is 1906. Pentecostalism will emerge as a worldwide movement thanks to a Los Angeles Times piece on the Azusa Street revival. An earthquake in San Francisco will leave 452 people dead, and the Phi Kappa Tau fraternity will be founded at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. Theodore Roosevelt has also decided that the English language is too fucking hard to spell and is in need of a complete overhaul. An August 26th article in the New York Times reads, President Roosevelt is the laughingstock of literary London today on account of the cabled announcement that, having nothing of much importance to do just now, he has undertaken to reconstruct the English language. Enter the Simplified Spelling Board. Announced on March 11th, 1906, the Simplified Spelling Board set out to, simplify spelling, because the English language is really fucking weird when it comes to how shit is pronounced and spelled. The fact that tough, though, through, and trough don't rhyme is a stellar example of this. Funded by one Andrew Carnegie, the 30 inaugural members of the Simplified Spelling Board began with a list of 300 pruned words respelt to match their phonetics. Here's a snippet from a March 13th, 1906 article on the New York Times. Jesus, cock-sucking Christ. That's just, ow. My brain hurts. If it takes longer to comprehend the simplified version than the original, you've either completely failed your objective or you don't actually know what the word simplified means. Reading is already frustrating enough with my lazy eye bouncing all over the page, mashing sentence fragments together into infuriating word salad that changes every time I read the fucking paragraph until I give up after the 5th time because holy shit, I want to slit someone's throat. Anywho, I see 3 major roadblocks right from the get-go. 1, homophones. 2, accents. And 3, the inability to deduce a word's meaning from its spelling. First, let's take a look at homophones. Words that sound the same but are spelled differently and have different meanings. See and see, for example. When those words are used in writing, it's easy to distinguish one from another. When they're used in speech, however, context is needed to determine which definition is being used. It's usually pretty easy to do when one see is a noun and the other is a verb. But what about words like sight, and sight, or wet and wet? Secondly, how the fuck do they settle on the right way to pronounce words with all the different accents just within America? Ask a Texan, a New Yorker, and a Minnesotan, don't you know, to read a sentence aloud and you'll likely get 3 drastically different pronunciations. There is no one American accent. Lastly, there's a reason words are spelt the way they are. There's this nifty thing called etymology. It's the study of words, their histories, their origins, and how they've changed over time. One key factor in a word's etymology is how it's spelled. This includes its prefixes, suffixes, and stem. When we encounter new words, the way that they're spelled helps us figure out what they mean. The root etymon means word, and the suffix ology means the study of. Just for shits and giggles, let's look at the word anachronism. Anna, backwards or against. Chronos, time. Ism is used to show use. An anachronism is something that doesn't fit the time period it exists in. It is something which goes against its time. It anachronizes. Taking all of this into account, simplified spelling seems like a bit of a misnomer, not only for the reasons listed above, but also because of the sheer impracticality of making the population of an entire country relearn their own language, especially in a time when information isn't as widely accessible as it is today. Getting pissy about words being too hard to spell is something only acceptable from little kids in elementary school English classes. They've only just been introduced to spelling and are still figuring it out. The simplified spelling board was made up of grown-ass adults. The simplified spelling movement was promoted by Theodore fucking Roosevelt. A handbook of simplified spelling was released in 1920. It took 14 years for the simplified spelling board to actually communicate to the public what the fuck they were even doing. Andrew Carnegie, the man who provided financial backing to this venture, died in 1919. His will left no provisions for the simplified spelling board, and it ceased operation in 1920. Over the 14 years of its lifespan, Carnegie invested $283,000 in the board. Adjusted for inflation, going by 1920 rates, this comes out to $3,596,958.30 in 2019. Yeah. Millions of dollars spent to make the USA the laughingstock of the literary world. Fuck this. Fuck President Roosevelt for promoting this. Cunt. And before I nope the hell out of here, I'd like to remind everyone that though Wikipedia may not be a good source for information by academic standards, it is a great source for sources. I wish I had learned that much sooner than I did. That's where I grabbed my sources for this video, all of which will be linked in the description for anyone who's interested in giving themselves a massive headache. My brain hurts, and I'm ready to put this shit behind me. Adios, muchachos.